me see. I wanted to put out a video actually of I've been watching through the American Pie movies, and I watching American Wedding. There is this scene. You've seen them all, right? I'm assuming.
I've seen them all. Yep.
There's a scene in American Wedding when Stifler walks by and like Michelle's name, her sister, is like getting changed, and he like goes up against the door and is like really digging in, drinking his beer, like really getting into it. I wanted to like. From the other point of view, when it switches to inside the room, I want to have a scene of JJ talking about the Star Wars Mind script and stuff, and just Stifler like against the door, really like digging into this thing, and just kind of be like, when you hear new Star Wars 9 rumors and stuff.
The problem is, do you have any video footage of JJ talking about Episode 9?
I found some.
Really?
Yeah, it's on the Colbert Show or whatever. He's like, oh, so you got the script on. It's like older footage, but it's just like, I just wanted to kind of like connect it just so it looks like he's talking about the script and just create that relation.
Alright, are you ready to talk about... I'm sure you're ready to talk about this.
Yes! Let's do it. We both got red shirts.
Yeah, and they're both...
Energon and Optimus Prime.
What was this?
Energon.
What's Energon?
It's what the Transformers, their power source. It's Energon.
This is not what this shirt is, though. This is the Flash.
We can pretend, though.
Oh, yeah? Lie to our listeners? You know, ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome to a GeekVerse podcast review. It's a little later. I was looking to see what the episode title number was, but I have no idea.
It's probably 235. Because I think
probably
our Smash one me and Dylan did was 234, I think.
Okay, so it's something like that. But anyways, I am the very full Travis Snail.
I am the Autobot Taylor Field.
Yeah, because this is for people that are long-time listeners, you know I'm straight edge. I don't drink, don't do drugs. I've never been hungover in my life. But last night was our GeekVerse Christmas party. We had tons of fun. We were up very late, and the amount of food I ate was enormous. And I could not move the entire time. I literally just got up to see this movie today. So I will bring as much energy as possible. But man, I feel like I'm a robot who has not been oiled up in a while. You know, not much grease. Yeah. You know. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are going to be the last cast of 2018. We got this. Taylor and I are also doing an Aquaman spoilers review, who knows if you listened to that before this. If not, go and listen to that. And then I'm very, very likely, I got family coming to town, stuff happening, blah, 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 but probably likely I'm going to be dropping a Titans Season 1 review, give my overalls on that, and the Spider-Man DLC one. If not, then it will be next week, but I'm pretty sure... You know, that family, you know, you never know. It's puzzle pieces. And then the very last episode of the year will be our best of 2018 kind of bloopers extravaganza. There'll be some fun stuff in there. So, yeah, so now we're going to talk about Bumblebee. If you've not joined us for a review before, we start off with non-spoilers and then we get into spoilers. We will give you a countdown. We will let you know so you can pause, you can turn off the video, and come back once you've seen the movie. And if you don't care about spoilers, then just stay along. We'll get into our pros and cons and give you a rating. Taylor Field, I'll let you start because Transformers is your shindig, so.
Yeah, you know, this movie, I didn't know really what I was going to get out of it, you know, new director and all, so it definitely took a whole new twist on, you know, what we've seen on the big screen for Transformers. It was very different, and my favorite thing is just the Iron Giant vibes you get from this film. I think it just fits with it so well, and Bumblebee is the right character in Autobot to, you know, portray and put out that kind of a story, you know, and have that connection with a human. So, absolutely fantastic film, and this is the second time that I've seen it now. I've seen it twice opening weekend.
In 3 days, yeah.
Yeah, within 3 days. Aquaman in the middle. So, you know, that's a good sandwich right there. Yeah, Bumblebee, Aquaman, and Bumblebee. So.
That's all you have non-spoilers. Wow, that was so sweet.
I got a lot of spoilers.
Well, I'll ask you a few questions. Where does this rank for you as far as Transformer films? Is this your favorite one?
Ooh.
Nice hat, by the way, Taylor. You know, jumping ship.
I don't know where this came
hat.
from. It just popped up. Favorite Transformer film? Well, right off the hop, my favorite Transformer film is Transformers 2: Revenge of the Fallen.
Okay. But does it replace that?
It definitely doesn't.
Oh,
I'm. It'll take
surprise.
a really good Transformers film to really, really top Revenge of the Fallen.
Really good.
I really dig Revenge of the Fallen. That being said, this movie still has a lot of stuff, and a lot of the stuff that it displayed easily would probably swoop it in as number 2 on my list, I would say.
Okay, so it's not you made it sound like it was lower, but it's just not Revenge of the Fallen.
No, because like I really Revenge of the Fallen is number 1 for me, obviously, and then Dark Side of the Moon I really enjoyed because we got to see like little bits more of Cybertron in that sense, but the fact that this isn't a spoiler, if you've seen the trailers, you know this they have it in the movie on Cybertron and like the Gen 1 forms of the Transformers. But that alone, the sequences of that in Bumblebee easily bump it up to number 2, and that's why it could be a fierce contender for number 1 at times, but I still love Revenge of the Fallen. But those scenes alone were just so like beautifully done. If Michael Bay had more of that in his movies, I'm pretty confident that they'd still be huge hits. So
I'm gonna say no on that one. I think Michael Bay's done is probably a good idea. Because most of the cartoons they took, because I'm not the biggest Transformers fan, that's how I'm getting into my review here. Most of them took place on Cybertron, right? Or did they go to Earth?
Well, they do go to Earth, but most of them I'm pretty sure.
Are we ever going to get a movie that's just on Cybertron?
I would totally be for it. 110%.
110%. So, Taylor, do you think I liked this movie?
I'm gonna make a solid prediction here. I think you are gonna probably give it a 5.8, maybe to a 6, anywhere between a 5.8 to a 6.5 out of 10.
Wow,
I think you're somewhere in there. I'd even say like between a 6 and 6.5 out of 10.
Well, you're gonna have to wait and see on that one till the end of the review. So that's a little tease for you. So for myself. All I've seen, I was not, even though my grandma would tell you otherwise, that she bought me a Transformers blanket that's over there. You were a big fan of this as a kid. Little Jimmy, my name's Travis, by the way. Grandma, no, I liked Power Rangers. So, I have that. But, I don't have much exposure to Transformers. I've seen some cartoons here and there, but they were never my lore. Gave it a shot with that first film. And I know a lot of people go like, oh, I really like the first film, and then it went downhill. For me, it just I just didn't connect with that first film. And it was in a time where I was starting to, maybe some people would say more of a film snob. I was starting to like more films that were more about dialogue and character. And it was one of those movies that came out that year. It was a big blockbuster. Just like, I don't care about robots fighting. I want some good character. And I feel like Shia and Megan Fox, not good characters in those movies. So this movie is probably a 180 of that. It's all about character. It's all about moments. It's really good. And the biggest thing for me as far as next to characters and story is, for me, what I really disliked about Transformers films is, there's obvious stuff, Michael Bay's humor, and I'm not a big fan of him as a director for the most part, but was the action, and it's fine, I'll be telling that in the Aquaman review as well. I really enjoy the action in this movie because in the Transformers Michael Bay's one, I feel they make them so big and they're just so like grayscale their colors. They really tone down like their looks, like they're not the G1, so they just look like they're big hunks of metal. And when they're fighting, I swear for 5 minutes I just see rolling metal and I don't know what's going on. I can't tell anything. And that's why for me, because that's usually one of my biggest cons, the action in this movie for the most part, there's the odd time where like Bumblebee is like at one point he's rolling with who's the girl evil one? That's not a big spoiler, but
I meant to look up their names, actually.
But either way, there's only a few moments where they're rolling, like, okay, I'm getting the Michael Bay-ish, like, I can't really tell what's going on. But for the most part, the action was clean and slick. The Cybertron scenes were actually very great and well done. That's why I asked, because I'd like to see a movie done there. And I just it had a whole different vibe. So the action was fantastic. Characters-wise, I had to look. I don't know if she's my number 1, but she's up there as far as, for maybe new fans, we do this thing called the Golden Geeks in the beginning of every new year. We look back at geek films. It's our version of like an Oscars award show. And I don't know if Haley Steinfeld's number 1 for me, but I think she's a solid number 2 for my favorite like female performances of the year. I thought she was fantastic, especially because you imagine she has to work with fake things, CGI, green screen, blue screen. So this is not an actual robot, but I never felt that. That's something we've talked about with Fantastic Beasts, both movies. Sometimes when they're interacting with the beasts, it takes you out of it because it does not feel they're there. Something's off. Does not feel that at all. Haley Steinfeld, I don't think I've seen much of her. As a fan of her in True Grit, I really like her music. She's great in Spider-Verse, but this is definitely the best performance I've seen her so far. A performance that I went, man, I think she's going to be a big star in the future. I don't know if I'm going to put it on the Travis Big Stamp star, and it's kind of cheating because she's already a big star, but I mean from an acting quality, I really connected with her character. I'm not going to do spoilers, but they did a good job of teen angst, but not too teen angsty. It wasn't like Twilight-ish. It wasn't like she was kicking a can, and I think she maybe kicks a can in this movie, but it wasn't just annoying where it's like, oh, just so dread. Like, they give you the reasons why this character's having a tough time, you buy it, and you don't spend too much time. I'm not saying that you can't do that, but in a movie where there's going to be a bunch of robots, that's not the movie to do like a real big character study, but I feel like they do a really good job of, this is her problems, what she's going through, this is how she's trying to deal with it, and then Bumblebee's interjected into the story to deal with, and how does she deal with this with her life, and I thought that was really well done, and I actually think I wanted more. This movie is 2 hours, I think it is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I could have done with 2:15, honestly, which is maybe in Auckland I'll talk about, maybe it could have been short for some people, but for me, if I'm enjoying a movie, I like longer movies. This is a pro/con. I wish there was a bit more of her having fun with Bumblebee, because that goes on for a little bit. But then right when we get into the action, like, you know, the bad guys are showing up, it's pretty much just that for the rest of the movie, and you don't get much of a breath. And that's where some of my cons were. I didn't love a lot of the story that happened in the first half of this movie. Honestly, this was like maybe a bona fide like Golden Geeks nomination for me, legit.
Really?
Yeah, but the second half, I didn't hate the movie or dislike the second half like extremely, but it fell off a lot. It got very cheesy, and in a moment, once again, when we talk about Aquaman, I think I'm doing, you were doing what I was talking to you, but like that's a movie where you've seen my non-spoilers review, they start from beginning to end very cheesy, where this, I felt the beginning was, as it's in a realistic world, as realistic as possible, where the end, they take a lot more leaps in logic, there's a lot more character moments, or a lot of things that certain characters do, they just didn't believe that were going on, and I didn't understand the rules of, you know, like the government and stuff like that. And that's my two other cons, is kind of the B-plot of like the government involved and stuff with the bad guys I wasn't really a fan with, because I was enjoying the Bumblebee Charlie stuff so much. I loved their interactions. I could have watched that the whole time. But when that got introduced, and you know, I'm a big professional wrestling fan. If you know, I've been to many live events, and the Gauntlet, we interject a lot of wrestling like type storylines, you know, because I've always said, you know, people, you know, you can watch people playing games, but it's funny to throw some stories in there. And, you know, John Cena, who I'm a fan of now, I wasn't a fan of him in his wrestling career, but this is the best example, because you've seen Deadpool 2, right? So for a long time, people were saying, well, when they're casting, like, oh, John Cena should play Cable. And for me, I was always like, he never should, because in his wrestling career, he could never pull off the really intimidating guy, and that's why when he didn't get Cable, I was happy. In this movie, he has to be the intimidating guy at times, and it just doesn't work. I love John Cena as like a guy, wrestler, you know, 50-50, but as a guy, he's a really cool dude, and he's nice, does a lot of charity work. He did not work in this movie at all. I think he took a lot of it from me. Of one, like he felt the most Michael Bay-ish in this entire movie. And it's weird, not even from the, like, he was cheesy. I don't know if they, and this will be funny when we talk about another review, I don't know what his character was. At some moments, they kind of play him off as, like, aloof, and then at some moments, he's kind of supposed to be a badass. Some moments, he's supposed to kind of be comedic, and then at some moments he's supposed to be just a terrible person. And it's not this thing, like, when I say that, you're probably like, oh, a level deep character. No, just one scene he'll be like super comedic, and the next thing he'll just be like, this door's in my way, move it, I'll rip your face off. Like, and it's not done for he doesn't say it in a comedic way, like he's using them as threats. So it was very strange, and that took me out of the movie a lot. And I think he should, right now, before he gets back into action serious roles, I think he should stick to like Blockers. What else was he in? What's that Amy Schumer movie?
Oh, Trainwreck?
Yeah, Trainwreck. Just wreck. There's no ED at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just
okay.
Trainwreck. Yeah, when he plays like the weird boy, like the gym boyfriend. I think he should stay with the comedic part, because there's comedic stuff he does in this movie and he's good, but it's all the serious stuff. Yeah, so for me, the big pros were, I love the Bumblebee and Charlie relationship. The action was a big pro. I like how they handled the Transformers stuff, because for me, as somebody that's only watched the first one and seen the other ones like on TV here and there, I don't know the storyline, so you don't need to know that going in. That's a big recommendation. I think it's a really fun family film as well. I think all ages can see it. It is, and I think that's where some of the cheesiness comes in, so I give it a pass for that. And then, yeah, some of my cons, I guess I didn't love the government sort of stuff. I'll get into that more spoilers, but they're kind of like the antagonists. I didn't like that, and I really didn't like John Cena. I didn't like there's a scientist in this movie too.
Human Powell.
I did not enjoy like anything to do with the human stuff that was not Haley Steinfeld. And even then, Haley Steinfeld's like I'll just say her friend in this movie. I wasn't a fan of him either. I guess
Really?
He was fine. I guess that's the other thing I could say. I'd say the comedy was like a 65-35, 70-30. I think all the Bumblebee humor worked fantastic. The human humor and the stuff with her family. I don't know, that I didn't chuckle too much, you know. And this is how bad it was. We had a kid in the theater sitting a few seats beside us. John Cena does something in this movie which is really cheesy, and I don't even think it's his fault. I think it's some of the story and the writing in this that he does this, and even this kid went, like, she laughed and she was like, "This is stupid," and I was like, she's like 10 and she's thinking
I don't
this
think
is
she
stupid.
thought it was stupid.
I think no. Okay, when a kid laughs, it's like, haha, yeah. And that, when she went, like when she did the whole
Probably
like,
thinking like, what is he doing that to Bumblebee?
I don't know. It felt like
What does he think he
it
is?
felt like exactly like my soul was in that kid's body. Like when I do that, when I like, come on. So those are my cons. I recommend it for anybody though. I think it is a good movie. It's a very good movie. I think it could have been great, but I think it's a very good movie. And that's the thing. I don't know if I go see it in theaters again, but if I had to, if Emily wanted to, if I was on TV, I wouldn't be opposed. I'd be like, okay, yeah. I don't know if it's in my top 10 either, but it might be in like the top 20. So pretty good for a Transformers movie. So
the blue Decepticon was Dropkick. Yeah. Their names are so good.
Oh yeah.
The red one was Shatter, and then
Shatter I'd heard, yeah.
the jet was Blitzwing.
Blitzwing, okay.
So, yeah.
Right, there's 3 of them, right, I forgot. And then there was Cliff Jumper.
Cliff Jumper,
Great
yeah.
scene.
Oh, poor Cliff Jumper.
You don't spoil what happened to Cliff Jumper. Something bad happens to Cliff Jumper. So anything non-spoilers you want to say?
No, I'm ready.
Obviously, you would recommend this. Yeah.
Oh, I'd recommend this. I've seen it twice, so.
yeah. Okay, so this is your last chance. If you're driving, listening to this. If you're in the kitchen cooking and your hands are dirty, I'm gonna give you the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then we're getting to spoilers. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. I just do it because sometimes I find myself, I say, okay, spoilers, and I talk about spoilers really quick. So now I've been trying to make a little bit of delay so people have time if they want to actually pause.
I'm just thinking, if they're in the kitchen, their hands are dirty, and they get 3 seconds to wash their hands.
No, they get the whole talk. That's why I'm bringing up even this banter. That's why I say I'm setting you up for the count. The count's coming. Here's the count, and then in the spoilers. So now we're into spoilers. I don't know if I want to start with pros or cons in this movie. I want you to start because I don't know. I could go anywhere, so I'll let you lead me where you want to go with this.
Right off the bat here, I'm gonna just start off with one of my favorite Easter eggs that they threw into this movie was when John Cena's like, we're going to Texas and cocks his gun.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So you remember the guy that
We're
ran
going
to
to
him and gave him the paperwork?
No.
You don't remember that guy?
No.
It's very brief. He said, okay.
Yeah, it's very brief, and I like that you don't remember that guy. It's very brief.
It's when you were turning to me and you were saying, like, did they leave her bike there?
Oh,
so
that was
missed that scene because it happened right after.
Yeah. They never answered that for me.
Never answered.
At one point in this movie, there's like her mom is taking the car, Bumblebee, and is driving the dog to the vet. Haley Steinfeld obviously worried. This is the early on with Bumblebee. She drives with the bike and she's like, "Oh, I'm worried about the dog." They have a banter. Let me drive. She drives. They never answered where it happened with the bike, and that's
they probably threw it in the back of the car.
And that's some of my cons I'll save till later. The movie did a lot of that of like, how are we gonna deal with the situation? We're not. Just leave it. Like, and that's stuff that bugged me because I feel like the first act movie was really realistic in the world sense. I'm not talking about I get there's robots, but you know what I mean. Like when we talk about Avengers, like this felt realistic. And near the end, I'll save it, but there was some stuff happening like that. The bike guy's like, "What's happening here?" They're like, "Okay, no, I guess it's just a family movie." Okay, fine. So, anyways, this Texas guy apparently huge.
Well, yeah. So he's like, we're going to Texas, but the guy he's talking to, John Cena's secretary, his name is Simmons. Now, do you know that name? Does that mean anything?
Isn't that the guy who created Skynet in Terminator? Simmons.
Maybe.
Is he a G.I. Joe character?
Probably. I don't know. But no, in the first Transformers, do you remember that guy?
No, I've seen it once.
I've seen it once,
and I was done.
Okay, I'll have to pull up a picture for you because the head guy of Sector 7, Seymour Simmons, is that guy. So he's a major character in all the other Transformer movies.
How do you know it's Seymour Simmons?
Huh?
How do you know it's Seymour Simmons? Do you even see his face?
Well, you see the guy, yeah. You remember this guy in the Transformer movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
John Turturro. You could have done that, yeah. But you didn't see his face in this movie.
No, that was just a younger him.
But how did?
Because this
did
is
you
like
see like a
separated.
name thing or something?
It says Simmons, and John Cena says Simmons as well.
Okay.
So, and it fits too because he'd be younger and he's working for Sector 7, which is the organization that was built out of the Hoover Dam. again, you see them driving out of the Hoover Dam, and that's where they keep Megatron, which is another thing that's cool, again, is because they don't show Megatron at all in any shape or form on Cybertron, again, hinting at, okay, Sector 7 has Megatron in the Hoover Dam, in cryo or whatever. So I love, again, how this is considered, you know, a soft reboot in that sense, but it has all the connections and the ties that respect the first Transformers from the Michael Bay did, but doesn't fold it on, like, it doesn't matter about the other movies he did. Yet. It just respects the first one, which I'm happy for, because I like the first one a lot, too.
Not your favorite, though.
But it's not my favorite, no. I like Revenge of the Fallen. But, yeah, so I just wanted to throw that big Easter egg out there, because I thought it was pretty huge. But to start off, I think right off the bat, we should probably start with like Cybertron at the beginning. I think that was just fantastic. Yeah,
I really like that. That's when it clicked in for me that the action was going to be a lot different when you see Optimus Prime. I know he does these in all these other movies, but when he's somersaulting, he's pulling the gun, and I can just clearly see it. The camera's nice far back. He's in the middle of the screen. He's not so big that it's just over his shoulder and whatnot. The cinematography is that, as far as the action, was very well done. I think that was a good setup. It was good to, whether you're connected to the other movies or not, like it connects the world. I think they do a good enough job, but I think they still leave a little to be desired if you fully, like if this was your first Transformers movie, I feel like you still would be like, I don't know what's going on. Like I guess it's a prequel, so you watch this that way, but if it is a prequel, I don't know. But they don't really get into the heavy lore of it, and maybe you don't really need that. I think they do just enough, but I think it's a good setup and and then because I'll save John Cena, but I think it leads into a good opening scene to their first contact with humans, and the action's really good.
You laughed at that paintball as soon as the paintball mask popped.
That was a genuine laugh. I liked
really?
That.
Why is that?
Because it was fun. I liked, okay, this nice little setup here. What are they doing? Oh, they're doing like paintball. They're training, and that's when he was being like blockers, John Cena, and I enjoyed. And then some other stuff happened, but I liked that. That was a fun setup, and it gave him, even though they never went back to it, I assume his friend died there.
No, because he was still like moving around and he was coherent.
But we never saw him for the rest of the movie, right?
I think he just ditched his friend. He's like, these fucking aliens.
Well, I thought they were gonna kill him off, so I'd give him some motivation to be like, I'm gonna take this robot down, but that didn't happen, so no. And then, so we got that happen, and then obviously you meet Haley Steinfeld's character, Charlie. So what do you think about Charlie? Because you got Shia LaBeouf in there, and you got Mark Wahlberg. How does she compare to the other like human leads of this franchise for you?
Out of all, the characters' relations with Bumblebee, because I'm very big on that kind of thing.
With Bumblebee specifically, or human and Transformers?
I love the human-transformer relationships, but like
human and predators.
Oh yeah, predators and trees. But no, specifically with Bumblebee and humans, we have Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee, we have Mark Wahlberg and Bumblebee, and we have, well, that being said, I consider Mark Wahlberg and Optimus Prime to have a much more strong relationship than Bumblebee, but with Shia LaBeouf and Bumblebee, they have a very good relationship, and there's lots of moments in there that
I guess I didn't mean so much Bumblebee specifically. I just meant human-Transformers interaction. Yeah, not Bumblebee specifically, as he wasn't the main character of the other two, or the other two leads.
Well, this is... So not just with Bumblebee, you're saying?
I would say just like think about your favorite human with any Transformers interactions, and where does Haley Steinfeld's Charlie stack up?
I'll start from my favorite moment then. In Transformers 2, when the Decepticons are trying to kill Shia LaBeouf, and he's just running away, he can't do anything because there's 3 Decepticons, and Optimus Prime comes in and tells Sam to hide, and Optimus Prime is fighting, and only manages to kill one of them before dying, and Sam just has to sit there and watch as his friend dies to, protect him. And that kind of relationship I really, really like seeing. That was very, very powerful and crazy. This movie, I really like Haley Steinfeld. Like, overall, I would definitely go with her, but if I'm looking at, like, one specific moment in the movie to top that one, I didn't find it. I found, like, her moment where she's diving off at the end to go into the water, I don't feel like it was totally warranted. I feel like it was, her overcoming a hill in her life and achieving that, which was great. But Bumblebee didn't need saving because he was just lying there like, you just saved the world, you gotta take a minute just to chill for a sec.
He's tired.
So he's tired, yeah. But other than that, like I enjoy her relationship. Overall, that one moment that Shia LaBeouf has with Optimus Prime, that is my favorite moment in Transformers. But then overall, Shia LaBeouf's connection with the Transformers, I would definitely either tie it or put it underneath Haley Steinfeld's relationship with Bumblebee, especially because it's just her and Bumblebee. It's not Shia LaBeouf and all the Autobots trying to have a relationship together, so it's not overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to do the comparison because I don't have the history that Taylor does, but I enjoyed this. I think with her, I enjoyed that we had quite a bit of time there. Maybe not quite a bit, maybe just like 15, 20 minutes, something like that, but a good set amount of minutes to really establish our connection with her. Like you set up, okay, her dad's passed away, so one, that's already, a tragedy in someone's life, but then you can see, which she talks about later in the movie, that she feels like everyone else has already moved on, His brother seems like his life's going good. He has like a yellow belt or something in karate, whatever he does. The mom has a new boyfriend. And then it's just the classic teen stuff. Like, I like when they get up, she has like the pimple and she's mad. She puts the hair over. She goes and then she's seeing all these other guys and girls having lots of fun. She's having a shit time at her job. So I really like all that. And like I said, there was some angst, but it felt warranted. It didn't just feel like, oh, hey, I'm a teenager and this sucks. Like, if the dad hadn't passed away, I think that could have went on that round, but that worked. We didn't get too much of it, but I liked her little fun back and forth with the uncle. I like that character. I hope that there's a sequel with this set of characters that we would see him back, but there wasn't too much of him, but I like that. And you get a passion for her. Obviously, it's a good setup with her in the car. There's a connection with her dad. So I think everything from start to finish, as far as just a little chunk to set her up to care, Haley Steinfeld did a great job. She's very comedic. The family dynamic's kind of weird. That's where I don't know if it's a huge con, but like the mom is, I guess they're trying to put it that, I feel like they were maybe trying to make it like the family was neglecting her a little bit, but it sometimes just felt like her mom was just a complete moron, and like I don't think it works the greatest. I think that could have used a bit more work, as either you got to go for, and I think that's the problem with John Cena, they sometimes try to bake their cake and eat it too. Sometimes they kind of went for she's a really caring mom, but then other times it seemed like she's out of touch, and I couldn't understand if that was, oh, is she a bad mom like Matilda style where they just don't care about her? And then they later on like full on go, no, that's not the case, they really care about her. But then like I feel like there's a lot more they could be asking her, checking in, stuff like that. That's her birthday and there's not much fanfare. Even I know they give her a present, but even like, oh, tonight we'll celebrate this and that. Like she does feel neglected, so that could have given a bit more time. I'm trying to think as far as I'm trying to cover everything with her. I covered it in the non-spoilers, but I think her and Bumblebee, they have some great moments. I think the best moment is when they're doing the music and everything like that, and he finds that videotape of the dad. I think that's her best scene in the movie, is talking about losing her dad and fixing the car, which, it was obviously, you knew it was going to be fixed. I found it weird that they didn't end the movie that way, but they ended it with her and the kid.
They had to throw the director's name in there.
I guess, but just throw it after. Like, it was very strange. Like, I liked the laugh when he goes to hold hands and she goes, "We're not there yet." That was fun, but I thought it was going to cut to the car scene, and then it cut to the Transformers coming to Earth, and then the car scene. So, very weird end credit scene. I think just the Transformers stuff could have been end credit, but I thought there was good stuff, and continually throughout, I like the scene where her and Bumblebee and what's the guy, Mimi's? What's his name?
Mimo.
Mimo, wow.
Or Memo.
Memo, or whatever his name is. I like the scene where they establish that she can't dive, she has these hills to go over, and I think they made her a good outcast, but not someone you can relate to, but like I said, not so outcasty in their face, and then not somebody that seems so cool. That was always my problem with Amazing Spider-Man. He's supposed to be this outcast, but he was always such a cool guy in those movies. I never felt like where she did a good enough job of feeling like a person you're rooting for, but you understand that she could be awkward in these situations because she's maybe getting anxiety, she's sad. So, but like I said, it wasn't too much. It was just amount right, and I don't know if that's a writing thing or if that's a performance thing or that's both. But I think they handled her and all her stuff with Bumblebee really well. I thought I wouldn't change any of the scenes. I think you're right at the end that dive was a little, not needed. But I think I think they do it just to establish they're together and everything like that. So I have no cons when it comes to her and her performance or her character at all. So
yeah, no, I found her to be overall just really, really good. I loved her delivery, and just she really lived and breathed that role that she was playing. I loved all the interactions she had with Bumblebee, like. Just even like when they go to the beach and just a simple scene is him just transforming and it blasts sand all over her.
Yeah, those moments are good.
Yeah, and like when she's trying to like jump out behind the rock and you think Bumblebee's gonna transform, but he just does the same thing behind a little rock. Or like when they're throwing the toilet paper on the house and he whips the whole package, or he's like lathering the eggs into the car.
Yeah.
There are lots of those kinds of moments are just really, really funny and fantastic.
So that's what I'll ask you, because like with Meme, I'm going to pull up his name so I get it right. Do you feel that he's this is the thing. So you think about that diving scene where all the people she doesn't dive, and you think about that scene with the eggs and everything like that. It is his idea for revenge, but you could easily write that differently. I don't think he was needed in the movie for me, and for me, I don't think they actually pushed on him being a love interest too much. She kisses him on the cheek, and they do kind of hint towards like, okay, maybe if there's a sequel, this could be something, or even if there's not, you just assume they might date. But I don't know if he was needed because he doesn't really play in the final act that much. I guess he does. I guess you have that moment where he phones, like she's at work and he destroys the house. But I just feel like there's other ways you could get her brother to do that. So I feel like you could have written other stuff where I don't know if that character was needed. I wonder. I don't know. I don't know if he didn't hamper it so much that I hate it, but I don't know if I could have done more with just her and Bumblebee together. That's kind of the way I'm feeling, right?
They definitely could have taken him out and it wouldn't have changed the story, especially because he wasn't in half of it. It was just 3 times him asking how are you, whatever.
Which I liked. Every time he came up to try and ask for a date, she just brushed past him. Sorry, I don't have time. That was fun. So like I said, wasn't awful, but
I think they're trying to go for just after you had the Haley Steinfeld Nemo.
Yeah.
Okay. After you had the Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee kind of connection, I think they were trying to go for more a group friendly kind of vibe. When they were in the car and his shirt flies off her head and they're just throwing their arms up and the music's playing or whatever. And it's just when you have Bumblebee, at least for me, when he's doing his funny radio shenanigans and you have the different kind of banter, it makes it really funny. I love how they picked, the right songs to throw in those moments.
Soundtrack's fantastic. The only problem I had was at the very beginning of the movie, they go through 4 or 5 songs super quick in the intros, and it felt very squattish, but after that, it was used really well. Not just the Bumblebee stuff, the soundtrack was really good. So I'll give them a good shout out there. Especially, I'm a big fan, 70s, 80s, that's my type of music, so I thought they had a good song selection there, so... I'm trying to think of more. I've talked about the action, love that. I talked about Haley Steinfeld. What's some more pros you want to get out there? Because it probably soon will be transitioning into some cons. So
what do you think about Ron when he handed that smile book to her?
I liked that. I liked that humor. I did laugh at it. I laughed at the helmet, everything. That's still, like I said, my own complaints with that. I couldn't figure out if they were... like I said, they're not the greatest family. I didn't think they were going to be awful like I said, like Matilda, but just were they just kind of up in their own mind. But I laughed. I like that. I'm clearly you really like that joke.
Oh yeah, I love that. Just Haley Steinfeld again. She delivered. You just see the disappointment on her face. It's so good.
Yeah.
But for other pros, I'm a big fan of the action. I don't really question how the fact that Blitzwing was already on Earth at that point. I'm just assuming that the Decepticons really fanned out, like Optimus Prime said, there's Autobots spread across the galaxy, so...
Blitzwing was the villain at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
No, he crashed after, that's why.
Did he crash? Because all we saw was the jet flying around.
No, he crashed.
Because you see Bumblebee crash, and you don't get any other indication of the crashing, and then you see John Cena's the Air Force.
Right. Well, he could have just crashed off screen.
That's what I'm assuming, and I don't have any problems with that. It's totally fine.
Either, yeah.
I like the scene with Dropkick and Shatter, how they came and the guy's like, not my car, and which again, that was very brutal how the guy died for a kids movie. I think
Yeah, there's some moments like that were pretty a little dark. That's why I was surprised John Cena's friend didn't eat it, because I thought at first okay, because it's maybe a kids movie, they don't want to kill off his friend, but then later on they just kill off this random hillbilly.
Hillbilly, yeah. A big shout out, again, we talked about how Optimus Prime was moving around at the beginning of the movie. I love how we got that first 10 minutes on Cybertron at the beginning, and then when Bumblebee, I like how when he was in the forest, he didn't remember. It was just playing this vision in his head, but he couldn't remember what it meant or what it was for. And I love how they used that as a segue back to Cybertron and give us more of Optimus Prime in that world, which is brilliantly done. But the biggest thing for me is Soundwave and Shockwave and those old school Transformer forms, the way they looked, oh my god, they look so good. Shockwave was the purple guy with the one eye. He's Megatron's #1 assassin, and then you have Soundwave, who was the other guy that had I can't remember he had the animal bot jump out of his chest.
Okay,
I can't remember his name right now. Yeah. So their voices and stuff, and the sound effects, Oh my god, that's like everything you could want like on the big screen. I think that's what really just hit home for like Transformer fans that are fans of like the old generations.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so cons, I got two of them, like the big ones. I'm gonna start with John Cena because that's probably my biggest one. Yeah, because for me, so with the paintball, what was that?
Go to Texas.
Yeah, so when it starts with the paintball scene, he's very comedic. Like you said, he's kind of like what he does in Blockers. He's just like, oh, you've been shot, just like this, and oh, don't, the guy's like, don't hit my eye. He's like, okay, and then he shoots him again. Oh, sorry, just keeps going off. That that was fine. Oh God. And the Lords don't want me to talk negative about John Cena. That was fine. And then the next time we see him, he's just in the, like, he doesn't catch Bumblebee. He seemed like he was the only one left alive of that squadron. So that's why I was waiting for the friend thing to come up. Never did. He's the one left alive. Next time we see him is, I don't know, however much time has passed, he's in, in the suit and he's in the camp base and whatnot. And then he's like full on just army, like, we need to stop these robots, blah, blah, blah. And then piles there and everything like that. And then he's still cracking jokes in the middle of it. So I'm like, okay, and those jokes, his humor to me did not work. Other than that paintball scene, it did not work. And then when they talk, that happens. And then the next time we see them going after, I'm trying to figure out, oh yeah, so when... what are the two bad guys that arrive?
Dropkick and Shatter.
So when they arrive, he has some terrible dialogue there when he's just like, we'll shoot your head off. Like, I can't even remember all the lines that was going on.
100 guns pointed right at your head.
Yeah, his delivery was not good of them. But from that point on, then he's just full on meathead who wants to, like, destroy these things. And then when the humans decide we're going to work with them, he's talking to the guy and everything like that and just like, how can we trust these people, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're Decepticons, it's in their name. And it just wasn't working out for me still. But then he's just like, the army guy's like, okay, we're going to work with them. And then we'll take them down. And then he's like, good, I want to take them piece by piece. So that was the problem of, I never understood, was he sympathetic? Because sometimes it felt like he was sympathetic to the situation with a Bumblebee or a robot. There's times where he felt that he didn't care and he was just there to do the mission. Then there's other times where he felt like he just enjoys destroying things and destroying people. And that's the thing, they kept sprinkling him throughout that he'd have humor. And especially near the end, like, he has humor with that guy, with her stepdad of like, oh, I stole something once. He's like, yeah, we know you did. But then there's one moment at the end when he grabs Steinfeld, he's like, it's just a robot, it's just a piece of junk. Like, what are you doing? And I felt his character was all over the map. And like I said, I couldn't decide if he was the sympathy, because then at the end he turns good and he helps them out. So it's just
if you're crashing in a helicopter and anyone grabs a helicopter and saves you, I'd make you good for sure.
But then I was waiting for, the problem is his character's not consistent. Either you're going to go for the sympathetic hero where he just doesn't know what's going on, he's trying to figure out what's happening to Earth, right? They don't go for that. You're just going to go for the meathead where this is my mission, I'm going to do it. And then he turns good, like, I've seen these robots, okay. Or you go for like the psychopath where he's just all about violence and you either kill him or you save his life and he turns and he goes, I've been wrong my right ways. But we don't really get that. Something happens, he saves him, he gives him the salute, which was cheesy. That's what the kid laughed at. But I can't gauge what his character was because I feel like every time we saw him, he was a different character. And I didn't like that. One, I didn't like his lines. I think lots of that did have to do with how he delivered them. Even the comedic lines. Like I said, like, Decepticons, it's in their name. What are we doing? Like,
there's a door in my way.
Yeah, and that's why I wish they went with more. Well, I wish they did the more comedic, sympathetic hero, because when he's just like, he was super like mean and like army guy in one scene, and then the next scene we see him, it's very quickly. He's just like, pal, he's a weird dude, eh? And like he's playing off as comedic, and I don't know if it was an actor choice or a writing choice, but whatever it is, the way that Steinfeld had all comedy mode and worked for me. Didn't work for me with him, and I wish they just picked like what they're gonna do, because I feel like in every scene he was a different type of army guy, and then he's just, I don't know, he's just like he's just a blender full of stuff. So what do you feel about John Cena's character?
I probably like overhyped him for you way too much.
Oh, like, big time!
Like, he
even after the movie
breathed his role.
Let him breathe his role.
No, I definitely, everything that he was doing, I just overlooked. I really enjoyed him. I always get a kick out of John Cena in movies. I love Blockers, Trainwreck.
But that's what I mean, because you're always someone that's, finds something in a character. How would you describe this character to someone that hasn't seen the movie? Like, because someone say, "Oh, he's a
From
villain."
what you point out now, like I definitely see where you're coming from. So
Because he's not. I feel like he's a villain at some points, but then other points he's just, like I said, a regular guy that's wondering what's going on. And then other times he seems like a hero. Like at the beginning when he's just on paintball training people and his people get killed, you feel sympathetic for him. But then the next scene, he's just an asshole. So it's like you could have made us feel bad for him the whole time. Like
the best, like. Michael Bay, honestly, he took a character like that and delivered, you know.
No,
honestly, Josh Duhamel in Transformers 1, I feel like his role was the role they were going for.
John Cena?
Duhamel?
Whatever.
I always call him just Josh Duhamel.
Whatever it is,
but
I could be wrong.
In Transformers 1, like, he, at the military base, he saw his friends get killed by a Decepticon, and they had to run off, and eventually, you know, they had to regroup and get evacuated, and then he just had this vendetta against them.
Yeah.
And then he was
even
very
from what
good in that role.
even what I've seen in those movies, he never seems like he's a villain. He just seems like he's on the human side trying to figure stuff out,
Yeah, and I think that's what they should have gone for now with John Cena. They could have done that.
Or done the reverse of Josh Duhamel was like the nice, good guy. They should have done the reverse where he was just, I want to kill these things because they killed my friends, but in the way where if I need to hurt Haley Steinfeld, if I need to do anything. But I think maybe sometimes the reason his character was hurt because I felt this movie had a big family vibe, and maybe that's why they didn't want to make him. He kind of felt like small soldiers, you know, kind of that way. Like they didn't want to go give him too hard of an edge.
And that kind of role that you just explained too has already been done in Transformers. Like one of the later films, they have someone like that. Like I fucking hate the Transformers. You know
So let's just throw it all together. And
he literally like will kill humans. You know, because he doesn't care about them.
See, I haven't seen that yet.
So I guess I don't know either. Like it's probably like you said. It's a kids movie, family movie. They probably don't want to have him hold a gun to Haley Steinfeld.
They get him just to toss her to the ground. That's the most, and it even looks like he kind of did it accidentally. Like it wasn't a hard toss. He was like, oh, and then he's shit.
This kind of goes into like a pro again because I totally forgot about that scene. But like that full on Iron Giant moment when Bumblebee goes full on Decepticon, that was absolutely sick.
Yeah,
like I don't like seeing Bumblebee like kill innocent people. Well, they're not really innocent; they're jerks.
But they're not really. They're just soldiers trying to stop.
Yeah,
aliens.
That's true. But I mean, they're just all over the board. They're just like, which aliens are these bad aliens? Like, not my aliens, you know. So, but I love that moment when his eyes turn red and he's just like looking at Haley Steinfeld and like he's trying to like assess everything and then just blowing them up and just killing them.
No, that was good. Yeah.
So.
And then, so my other big con was some of the story stuff. So like I said, I liked all the stuff. I liked the setup on Cybertron, how he met Steinfeld. I liked Bumblebees and their interaction. And even the John Cena stuff and the Mimo stuff, to me, that was like the lesser stuff I disliked. Mm-hmm. As I continued, John Cena was all over the map, so I disliked that more. Mimo actually disappeared quite a bit, so I won't say he was a big hamper, but they just constantly threw him in for the joke as far as he bike rides up or tries to stop. So I think he's just your comedic relief if you like that good. For me, it worked fine, but I could have taken it out. For me, what was weird, so you have the bad guys, they're Decepticons, right? They make a deal with the government that, hey, Bumblebee's a criminal on our planet, we're trying to take them down, help us, and we'll leave your planet, and we'll be in peace and whatnot. So they're working with them, and Bumblebee, how does that single get set that they find Bumblebee the second time with, like, Steinfeld, and they capture Bumblebee?
Oh, he's in the house, and he pulls the coffee maker out of the plug, and
right,
the plug touches it, and then they detect an energon surge.
So that scene's great. When Bumblebee the movie to me was climbing, even though I would have wanted more scenes of them just having fun, like the vandalizing. I think because it is 2 hours, we lost some of that, which is fine because they want to make it smaller. Because right after that house scene is really like the last full just comedic moments. There's comedic stuff happening in the rest of the hour, but the rest of it's very serious. You know, people are getting kidnapped, captured, everything like that. So that's why I wanted a little bit more of that. That, whatever, was fine, a small complaint. Once he gets kidnapped, Steinfeld gets back, Charlie's thrown back to her house, she got knocked out, she's asleep, they're talking to her fam, like, this is what's going on, robot, she stole government tech, blah, 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 and then they go off. For me, it was like, it felt really realistic, but one, the FBI, Charlie just gets out of the house. Nobody's watching her. The problem was this felt like this situation was treated by the government in this movie, and that's why for me, it took me out of it. It felt like a very small situation. It felt like they were just dealing with humans or terrorists. But in this movie's continuity so far, this is the first time they're dealing with aliens, and these aliens are massive robots who can transform into vehicles. You'd think you'd be on DEFCON 5, but the whole town, everything, wherever they are, it's treated super small. Charlie just escapes regularly, no problem. Just literally jumps out the window, walks out the back door, is fine. She even go to her neighbors, who her neighbor was there with all this. None of these people are detained. They're not being questioned. They're not like... I would just feel that, hey, even this neighbor who saw this big robot, you'd have them in questioning for hours, but literally, they capture Bumblebee and they just send these kids home. Like, go home, don't talk. They don't even tell them not to talk about it. We don't know what they told them. They were just woke up.
Yeah, but for the government, they could just probably think they're kids, no one's going to believe them.
But what... Say that then in the movie, right? Because I have no idea what the government's doing. Even Mimo, though, like, the next time we see him, he's joking around when he's doing, like, the mime and stuff. I'm like, this whole big situation happening, that humor is not working for me. So they escape. There's FBI agents still literally, the government's still parked outside their house, and they just escape. Fine. So then we get to this facility where Bumblebee is being tortured. There's just the one scientist with both these, like, with all three of these aliens and Transformers. That doesn't make any sense from scenes ago when the entire government was in rooms watching them work with satellites.
Well, that was because that was in the Hoover Dam in Sector 7 with the satellites, like with all the scientists and stuff.
Yeah.
But now this was that they cleared out the airport or whatever, and they had just the.
But that doesn't make sense. Why Pal would just be there? Why is there one dude? Because even if they're not allowed to
they had guards guarding the perimeter, remember?
No,
when Steinfeld ran to the gate, there were guards shooting at her. So there were guards on perimeter.
Wasn't that... No, they
remember just after...
No, because they come up with... No, what happens is they come up with the bike and they're like, oh, hopefully it's not electric. And he's like, how'd you know that? She cuts that. They get in. They get in with no troubles whatsoever. They don't shoot at her till after because they get in there, they see Bumblebee possibly dead. And then when stuff's happening, John Cena comes with a whole like army of guys. Then my thing is, yeah, they're in this base, but they didn't even...
No, but they still had guys guarding the gate, though.
But nothing's happened. No, because when they came up, when Bumblebee was dead, all of them came up in trucks and everything. I mean, like, yeah, there's the gate. I mean, in this room that they're in, there's nobody. In every other scene in this movie, these aliens, when they're around the humans, people have guns, but for plot armor, so Haley Steinfeld and Nemo can sneak in. There's nobody there, and so the aliens can turn bad. Because when Powell calls John Cena, you think John Cena... He would be there. He would not be at the house talking to the parents. He's the one that's dealt with these ones both. Like, he's dealt with them every situation. The fact that he is not there, like, manning this operation, he's just talking to these humans, made no sense. So, for me, the kids escaping their homes was a big, like, what's happening? I was like, okay, whatever. Them getting into the base, no trouble at all. Why was that fence not electric? Oh, how do you know it wasn't electric? I didn't. Okay, Alan Grant, fine, we're just going to walk right through. So 2, they get in there no problem. 3, no one's watching these Transformers whatsoever. There's not even, like, apparently cameras to be recording any of this, because Pal has to call and be like, this is what's happening, it's bad. And then 4, when Bumblebee, when Haley Steinfeld and them get in there, like I said, nobody was around there. No guards, no nothing, and all the guards came later. They came, of course, right when the bad guys left, so it looked like Bumblebee was, like, a bad person, even though they're in this huge facility. So, for me, it was all the stuff in half an hour that kept happening back to back to back. Was like, for me, plot holes of just, at the beginning, you see guards everywhere. And every time John Cena shows up, he has like an army of 50 people. Like, I got hundreds of guns pointed straight at your head. But in this time, when we have all 3 of them in one room, like, you would have, I think you'd have every gun on that room just in case something goes bad. But they're just like, no, we've known these aliens for a day. Just let them have the room. It's fine. And leave Pal in there alone. It made no sense, and that felt very like Michael Bay-ish in the way of like
Michael Bay would have had a ton of people in there.
No, but I mean, like in Michael Bay, sometimes it seems like in his movies he's very careless and he doesn't explain things. That's what that felt like. That just felt like, and maybe I shouldn't say Michael Bay. That felt very child family movie. We're in family movie like in Tim Allen's Santa Claus. When you ask this, like so much stuff should be happening right now as far as people seeing this or asking questions. They go, okay, it's a kid family movie. Give it a pass. They throw out logic. But that's where I didn't think that was. Like, the first half of this movie, I didn't think it was like a kid's family movie. It had that vibe, but I thought they still had the rules of realism. But then the last half to further the plot. They just throw everything out the book, and they're like, whatever you knew before didn't matter. And then John Cena's off talking about ripping faces off and blowing up doors, and he's just hamming up. So for me, it was liked the first act a lot. The second act I liked until all that warehouse chunk, and then I liked it again at the end. But that I'd say that solid half an hour. It kept taking the score down by 0.5, and I was like, oh man, that was really disappointing. I didn't hate enough that, I will never watch this again. It was just disappointing because I felt everything else had so much care. So, what else do you got? Well, if you want to mention anything on that, you can. But those were my pros and cons as far as this film.
Yeah, I don't have really too many cons. I mean, the only con I can think of, like what you pointed out, there's a lot of good points. Like I definitely agree with you on some of that stuff. But like, I don't know. I guess like I definitely would have loved to have seen more, a few more Autobot stuff. I guess like even whether it was on Cybertron or
you have
or
5 Transformer films for that. Okay, this is.
I know.
This is
I can't. Don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy.
So I have to.
Everybody wants Autobots. That's what Travis Knight said when they saw his. Okay. This just better beat Aquaman the opening weekend.
Yeah, no kidding. 280 million shy.
It's gonna make money though. It's a good thing. It's Christmas time. It reviewed very well. Audience score. This Mary Poppins, Aquaman all got A-. So it's all apparently audience like these movies the exact same level. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't really have much else to say other than that this movie was great. I love how it connects to Michael Bay's films and it acts as like a reboot in its own way.
They could easily though continue on, and this could be a full-on reboot. The next one if they want to.
They totally could.
They've set up where that world could still exist, but they've also set up that they could just knock it down. And I think there's a good chance that this makes lots of money. And with this being reviewed so well by fans and critics, I think there's a chance they might just say, doesn't matter, just break down the wall and go. Like, do it X-Men style, right? X-Men for years has never cared about their continuity. They're just let's just do it. Why is Patrick Stewart back alive? He's back alive. Deal with it. And you're like, okay, we all love Days of Future Past. Great, let's move along. So they might just do that.
I definitely could see them. I don't think they would go back using Haley Steinfeld in the next one because I think that's clearly is separated. You know, she's going on her path and she's let B go, and B is doing his own thing now. He's got his memory back. So I feel like if they do another film, I feel like it'll focus heavily on Cybertron and more of that stuff.
It's tough though because that seems to be everybody's favorite stuff though is him and her though, right? So it would be stuff like I agree with you. I think that's why those movies are hampered. The fact sometimes like Shia LaBeouf always happens to be there and doing this stuff, but at the same point when this works so well, I don't know how you could do it, but I think they could try and find a way to work her in. But I don't know, or maybe you do a sequel, but it's jumps time, so it's not so around like this era. Like you could do 5 years from now, or in a different state or something like that. So I could see you being right on that one. It's just hard for me because I really enjoyed that, but maybe it's just and the other thing is too because they left her and the boy kind of like, oh, will they, won't they? So that's why I feel like that's a really sequel thing of like, would they be a couple? So I'd say it could be better for the story not to see her, but I feel like we'll see her again, and I wouldn't mind it because I like those two together. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely do hope that we do get a sequel. I think what I was reading was Travis Lane was working on like some other project that he was trying to finish up, I think, or something like that. So I don't know if they'd get him back for another one or if they give it to like the reins to someone else.
I think so. I think as long as he'd want to do it and it's successful enough, makes him a profit, I think they'd give it back to him. I think that's usually what it comes down to. So because I think people like myself that aren't fans are liking this, so.
So would you want a sequel like Bumblebee 2, continue the story, or do you want like focusing on like another Transformer, like an Optimus Prime movie, or? I
think I would like if I had like the realistic answer is I would just want Travis Knight to come back and whatever they say is next for Transformers, then I'll follow it because I have some major cons with this, but I liked a lot more than I disliked. So that's what I would just hope. But from a story standpoint, I would like to pick up where we left off with Bumblebee. That kind of goes into another Transformers movie though, so I'm not sure how you do that. So I feel like you can't really do same thing. You can't really do a Bumblebee 2 because I feel like he wouldn't be on his own. So I feel like you transition that into something. Maybe Bumblebee gets lost from the pack again, but that doesn't seem right. Some people have said an Optimus Prime movie, but I feel like it's almost somehow maybe they'll wait a little bit for the last night stink to kind of go away, and then they'll just do another Transformers movie. So I feel like that might be the way. It's something, whether it is more Transformers or just a full-on Transformers movie, or maybe that's what they're waiting for, is that the next one will be Transformers movie, but that is like, that's the full reboot, where it's using this continuity. So I think that's probably where we go story-wise.
I very much like how Bumblebee at the end transformed into that classic, was it Camaro?
Yeah.
I like how he transformed into the Camaro, which is the exact same one that Shia LaBeouf picks up in Transformers 1, so this is cool.
I thought in all those Transformers movies he was a bug.
Well, like a Beetle?
Yeah.
No, like he sees the Camaro and he just upgrades.
Oh, no.
And he goes to like a...
I know, I was schooled on that at some point in my life, but the whole time I'm like, he's always been a bug.
No.
Or a Beetle,
he's sick.
Yeah.
So, there's that, and I think there's one more thing. I can't remember it.
Well, you can think about I get my score. But overall, like I said, the pros were Charlie / Haley Steinfeld. Her in general, but then her and Bumblebee had a good back and forth. I liked all their comedic aspects. I liked the vibe of this film. I liked how they dealt with the teen. Like I said, even showing her maybe going through some depression, but still working through it and not being too over the top. Because I'm not saying depression be over the top. I feel like movies can really sometimes do that in a big way, or make it very melodramatic. If you go listen to sometimes whenever they come out with 13 Reasons Why review, sometimes I feel like that happens where there's a way to do teen angst, and I feel like there's always a line of too little and too much. I feel like they hit just right, because it's in a way where I can still connect with this character and enjoy this character. There's times where she's having fun, but then there's times you see her struggle. So that was a big pro for me. Like I said, I think she's a big chance of being a Golden Geek nomination, possibly a win down the line. Which doesn't mean much to her. She's making millions of dollars. But, from our standpoint, in our world, important. That's big for us on that gauge. And the action was spectacular. Like I said, that's one of my biggest cons in the Transformers movies. And I liked majority, like I said, probably about 85-90% of the action in this. And I would be down for a Cybertron movie or something like that. Or something with more Transformers when I didn't think that would be the case. My cons, some characters. I didn't talk about enough, but Pal was just... He felt very overacting. They had an idea what they wanted with that character. I just didn't like it. Very disliked John Cena, and I think that was some miscasting. I think he should right now. It's the same thing. If you go look at some of The Rock's other movies, he wasn't The Rock the way he is now. And I feel it's the same thing where he got put in this situation or really wanted this, and I don't think he was ready. But I hope it does good for his career, because I still have him in our comic book draft for Marvel DC, and I feel like if this movie does well, it's just... Every year I'm going to keep them, just because I feel like at some point it's going to happen. When, I don't know. And cons, like I said, there was maybe some plot holes, some logic jumps. So my score, probably a surprise 10. I feel I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Ooh,
so higher than you thought.
Wow.
Yeah, higher than you thought.
Cool.
So, a 7 out of 10. A really enjoyable movie. It's a movie I think I'll definitely watch again in the future. I would recommend it to everybody. If I did that non-spoiler, so I shouldn't do that again. But I enjoyed it, which was very surprising. I don't think I was going to enjoy it. Transformers movie. But I was not opposed to it, as if you've listened to our newscast, the trailers were really good for it. They had a different vibe. So I was like, okay, this could be something different, and it was. So more of this, and I'm happy with the franchise.
This movie, really enjoyed it. I love the different take and approach they pulled off with this, because I really am big on the human transformer relationships, and I love how, even the Michael Bay films, when Michael Bay made the Autobots come off as, these unique individual personalities and not just machines. He did a really good job at delivering their unique personalities and their traits, and I love that. And with Travis Knight, he just did a fantastic job representing Transformers and just showcasing it for the fans and new fans alike. And there was just so much in this film that just really blended well together. And I don't know, I won't probably see it a third time in theaters. I think I'm okay with 2. But it's
I wouldn't put it past you on your 3-week Christmas break or cheap Tuesday.
I very much though will buy this movie and add it to my Transformer collection. 110%. Oh, you know it. Oh, totes. So, I definitely though I feel bad for these Optimus Prime's first lieutenants. They just get the short end of the stick. Jazz got ripped in half, and now Cliff Jumper.
Decimated.
He got sliced down the center. Not what you want, but
not at all.
He went out like a true hero. I am Cliff Jumper, lieutenant, and
kept trying to introduce himself.
He just kept getting cut off. That poor bastard.
I think almost in the comic draft, I don't know if everyone else will be down, but I almost want to picture that we should, because we've rumored a pick that might go to 10 slots. as far as picking people. I think there should be a option of throwing directors as well. Because same thing, I feel like Travis Knight is going to be, because we heard talks like rumors that he was maybe going to do Guardians 3 and turn it down. That's not happening. But I feel like it's in the next 2-3 years. It's only a matter of time before we hear Marvel and DC say this guy's doing one, because Kubo was a big hit. Everyone really liked that. I never got a chance to see the full thing, but from what I saw, it was really good. And Dylan and Tyler really liked it. Did you ever see it?
I never saw it.
Jessica saw it too. Like I think Kirkland did. So everyone that saw it really enjoyed it. And then this, which is like he took a franchise which was having a lot of lulls and on a big down and brought it up. Who even cares financially, just from a mainstream wise? So I feel like it's only a matter of time before DC or Feige swipe him up, or even Star Wars for that fact. So that's why I think directors might not be a bad thing. I think he has a big future. So what are you giving this number score here?
I am giving this. I'm gonna have to eventually do a Transformers retro. I think at some point. I'll solo that, so I won't put the pressure.
I won't be on that. Yeah.
But I'll give this probably. I give it a 9 out of 10.
So what's your full point off? Because I always ask Taylor. Because Taylor, his points off are usually never stories or characters. It'll be like, that door, the handle on it was a little too crooked for me, so a whole point off. So what was your one con? Because I didn't hear too many cons. You agreed with some I point out, but what's keeping it from being a 9.5 or a 10 for you?
For me, it's just I want more of that Cybertron Gen 1 Transformer footage.
But would that have not? I don't know if that would have fit this story to keep going back to that. I think you should just be happy that you got that in the first place.
Oh, I am happy I got it in the first place, but I definitely
punishing it for not enough.
I would have loved it to showcase Bumblebee at the beginning a little bit more in that. And I think it would have helped more than hindered him, showing him how much of a change he's gone into being back to like a baby where he doesn't know what's going on. Like, he's got no memory of what his past life was. Like, to just see him in full on action, like, because that's one of my favorite things about the other Transformer movies is like his fight scenes and just how he delivers, and like he's super cool when he like is on his back and
everyone's delivering a lot into Taylor. John Cena delivers, lives and breathes is the other thing. They deliver and they live and breathe.
But Bumblebee though, as a fighter, he's just super cool. Like he spins his legs up in the air and like kicks drop kick, and then he like what's the other move that he did? He uses legs and grabs drop kick by the head and flips them backwards.
Well, he did that in this movie.
He did in this movie.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's called head scissors in wrestling.
Head scissors.
Yeah.
John Cena probably recommended it. He's like, let's get Bumblebee doing some WWE stunts.
He's only done it about 3 times, and it usually looks awful. Usually that's for cruiserweights and like the high flyers that do that. Yikes. Usually the bruiserweights don't do that. So.
But yeah, no, Bumblebee as a fighter, he's fantastic. I love the way he came in, like shot that Decepticon, kicked the guy's head, and it takes out the Decepticon behind Optimus, like just seamless. So I would have loved a little bit more Cybertron footage. But other than that, I could easily bump this to a 10 in the near future.
Wow. Taylor, where can they find more footage and audio of us? You like that one.
That was good. Ladies and gentlemen out there with your internet connection, to find us, you gotta go onto the internet, on your computer, your phone, whatever tablet, handheld device, or your Google Home. Just be like, in the search bar, GeekVerse space podcast. And you know what? You're gonna find all this awesome stuff. You're gonna find this review, tons of things. You gotta donate, because it's a time of giving, and we're all about giving here at the GeekVerse. We love to give you guys just the best, juiciest stuff of all time. It's the greatest content you'll ever find anywhere. So, it never hurts to give back to the givers a little bit.
Well, yeah, he's mentioning our Patreon, but the thing he didn't mention is you give something and you get something back. We don't just take your money. You get early, exclusive shows there. Me and Star Wars. Me and Taylor are reviewing the entire Clone Wars series right now because that's having a revival. We got some of our 2019, the first casts are going up. You can get those early. And everything for 2019, there's going to be stuff that goes with there early. You get half the content for $1, $5. And you know what? If you have no change to spare, that's fine. Just go subscribe if you like what we do. Look in the links down below in the description. Whether you want the video version on YouTube or you want the audio, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Just go subscribe and you'll get every podcast. We're pumping out a lot in these next few days. And then in 2019, we got a lot of stuff. There's some movies that are light in 2019 or in January, but that's why we got Golden Geeks and stuff like that. That's tons of fun. We got a great Star Wars our Star Wars Cantina we recorded. So lots of content on Patreon. And if you want to wait, subscribe. And please like and review. That helps us a lot. That helps us grow the channel. So if you like what we do, we would really appreciate that. So when you hear from us next time, I promise you, it'll not be boring.
Roll out.
That's not sticking. Roll out.